Hey everybody, it's Monster back again with Opus Gaming, and I'm here today with more firsts for you guys. First of all, Quan got first place at today's PPG Regional, and this is also our first time recording on Discord, so it's gonna be a little bit different from the normal quality that we have for the channel. But that's not the focus. We're really proud of Quan. Quan, how are you doing? How is it after your first place finish at that long
Uh,
regional?
uh, I'm feeling good, definitely for sure. It was definitely stressful, a lot of close matchups, a lot of hard matchups, but I managed to squeak my way through the to get the win to win it all.
No,
Luckily,
absolutely. No, that's wonderful. We'll just jump straight into the deck profile. We'll do all this stuff about talking about like the channel and your matchups and stuff like that at the end of the deck profile. But let's talk about who you played. Who was your leader for today?
I played Kinemon.
You know?
I personally think it's the best deck right now. So, very controlling aggro.
Okay.
Controls the matchup. His abilities really bust it.
What makes you think
Um,
that it's like a better deck than other decks in the meta that you have options of right now?
um, it's because it controls the board. It
Mm-hmm.
increases your chances of winning from just controlling the board and draining your opponent out of resources as well as characters,
You know?
rather than just go face, and hopefully at the very end they don't have any counters where you can
Yeah.
just win the game. So yeah, I really like how this plays in terms of control. Um, yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah,
that's
we
why
can
I chose
definitely jump
Kinemon.
into some of your. What are some of your earlier cards that you have for your deck?
Oh yeah. So I play it for Bonnie. Um, you have to play at 4. It gets you a resource, and then it also is just like if they don't remove it, you get another resource each turn. So it's like a resource grabber and like a blocker, a pseudo blocker in itself. And if they swing at your face and they don't clear it, you could eventually potentially get more counters to block out like later attacks. So this is definitely a 4 of.
Sweet.
Uh, I play 3 Capones. I really debate over 3 or 4. I chose 3 because I don't like too many non-counters in my hand. You could play 4. I
Mm-hmm.
just liked it at 3.
No, I see
Never
that.
felt bad. I play at 3. I felt like I had enough blockers.
Okay. No, I like that
Um,
number a lot. I think Component is one of those cards that you have to balance. I think you have it balanced very well with just the three of, but it's like you see it
yeah.
enough, right?
Yeah, because early game it's not like as good as it is late game. So
Mm-hmm.
like you don't really want to drop this early. I mean you can, and sometimes you do, but by dropping this, it's really hard to block. And if you don't block, um, you're usually forced to block early because you want to use Kinemon's effect.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it really sucks to like block a 5K swing. So like it's kind of okay at the beginning. So it really depends on the situation. But I like that at 3. It's more of a late game card for me, just
Okay.
to control the board. I play it for Momo.
So just continuing the one drops here. So
Yeah, we're just gonna go from ones to the
supernovas to
ends.
the yep.
Yep.
So supernovas to the
So,
Wanos.
yep, I play it for Momos. Best card in the deck. Searches your Odin, searches your Okikus, searches your Yamatos. I mean, there's nothing really to say about it but you need to run 4.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in this deck, at least. Um, uh, I play 3 Okikus. Um, A lot of people are playing like 1 or 2 or not playing any at all. I
Mm-hmm.
liked it at 3 because worst come to worst, it's a counter. But most of the time, it's like a pseudo blocker that you can drop for 1. So it's just as good as Capone. But
Yeah,
the main thing that makes it really good is it's a counter. So I
that
liked it
makes
at
sense.
3, and I think you do have to play this card because it's searchable off Momo. If you have Momos, sometimes you need blockers.
Mm-hmm.
So this definitely really helps the engine.
For
Um,
sure, I can see that being for Toki coming in the deck and then being like a Wano blocker. That just adds more diversity to the Wano
yeah,
package, right?
yeah. Because if you don't have Bonnie, you don't have a way to get blockers late.
Okay.
Other than like drawing it. So it's really helpful if you have another target for blockers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I play Toki at 3. Definitely have to play it at 3, I think.
I respect
Potentially
that.
4 maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
I love
and
that
then
card.
I play 4 killers. Um, the reasoning behind killers is it's it's an insane card late game, and a lot of times you have a lot of dons, so you can just drop it for two, put a don underneath it, and then you get a free block and a draw. So it's like you're playing three dons for like a block and like another 2K counter, which is really nice.
Mhm.
Worst, it's okay early. It's not that great. Worst come worst, it's just like a 1K blocker or 1K counter. So that's why I chose four over four Capones because I really want the 1Ks. The early game, you really need the 1Ks.
For sure. I know that when your opponent's kind of trying to go for game two and you're picking up cards from life rapidly, right, and they're trying to finish you off, everything
Yeah,
that has counter comes up. You want to see
yeah,
killer over Capone in
exactly.
that situation.
For sure, for
For sure.
sure. For Scratchman, this is this is really just used for the Bonnie search for the 2Ks.
Yo.
I did I did play it one game like really early. I hard play it because I had nothing in my hand and I managed to tap a Rackle Beam, which was funny, and I won it off that. But I was kind of winning already, or I was trying to push for game anyways. But like,
Right.
even if he had the Rackle, I would have won. But this was kind of funny. But
Right. It just
yeah,
came in messed up.
you really don't play it. You only play if you have a lot of life. You're desperate to push damage, but I wouldn't recommend playing it. That was just kind of like a meme. But
That's fun.
yeah, more so for the 2K counters that searchable off Bonnie.
Okay.
Um, so I'm just gonna
And
put
that's an
this as
important like package to kind of have all together, right? You have to have enough 2K
yeah,
counters because you have to stay healthy. You have to stay
for
healthy in the
sure,
game state, and you have to
sure,
stay healthy in your life too. So having
for
those cards
sure.
that are just super easy targets are nice.
So I played four Risals.
Hmm.
Um, this was okay at four. You could reduce it to three if you want, but I found it okay at four just because sometimes getting it off Odin is nice just to get the draw.
Hmm.
Because if you have an Okiku out, you kind of want the draw. Worst come to worst, it's a counter. It's another target off of Kinemon to play for two. Um, Sometimes you play it, but most of the times you don't. But yeah, this was okay. It's really good actually against a Zoro matchup though, because
Oh.
if you play it against early against a Zoro, this they usually swing with like their one cost Sunnies or their Dons into like a Bonnie or whatever. Then you can like get a swing off and get a draw.
Hmm.
So this was all right. Um, so yeah, play
Okay.
Rizzo at four, three,
You know,
four.
Rizzo is like one of my favorite green cards. I love that card, so I love seeing it in your list for sure. I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Resource, you know what I mean? It's the name of the game.
yeah. And you have to play for Ezos.
Oh, and we
It's
got the new alt arts.
yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
they weren't that expensive, so
Fair. I
you might
just
as well
haven't
pick
even
them
seen
up.
that many Ezos in one place yet. So, but I guess I haven't
Yeah,
been to that many tournaments.
yeah.
So for the Ezo, I know that it's kind of it's dual purpose, right? Like you hold it in hand as a 2K counter, but like how often did you hard play that card for three to be aggressive today?
Um, Maybe like twice or maybe two or three times. Not
Hmm.
that many times. I really don't like playing this unless you have a five cost law because it's like a dead card,
Hmm.
and it also it ruins your Kinemon because like you need sometimes you just need like space to play stuff for cheaper. So I mean, yeah, usually you use it for push for game, but usually most of the time I just use it for the counters because there's other stuff that just rests that's just better than this.
Yeah, like Yamato and things. I could see that.
Yeah, and Okiku. And four of the best card in the deck, actually probably the second best card, but you have to play at four. Cards really cards bad late. It's good. It's really oppressive early.
Hmm.
Playing this for two off Kinemon like puts you ahead for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh, Putting one Don underneath it, swinging to rest something, and then swinging with your Kinemon to clear whatever is really because you push damage and also you clear someone thing is really oppressive. Yeah, no, this card was great. When you see it early, you're really in there, but
No,
seeing
for
it
sure.
late is the worst unless you have a law. Um, yeah, I would talk about my games at the end with this card. I
Okay.
kind of did to push for game.
Cool.
Well, uh, I play for Yamatos. You have to play this up for. This card's crazy. Yeah, this card just wins you mirrors. This card wins you any matchup. if you think about it, it's like a 3 cost 6,000, which is nuts.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't know why they printed this card, but yeah, this probably like one of the best cards in the deck. Late game, it's also like a 4 cost rester, which I've done.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, card's great.
Cool. No, I can totally see that being very, very strong in like developing your board, right? Because you're tapping something, attacking
Yep.
into something with leader, and then you're leaving that untapped on the board. So going into your
Yeah.
next turn.
So I played two laws. I thought this card was like kind of the MVP today, honestly. I would consider playing three, but I don't want to see too many non-counters in my hand, so I probably leave it at two.
Mm-hmm.
But this card like overperformed more than I thought. This card pushes for damage as well as it gets you a blocker that can't be KO'd by Whitebeard,
Mm-hmm.
which is very important. It won me like two Whitebeard matches, just them not being able to push for damage.
I can
So
see that.
yeah, this card was crazy. Plus, I love this alternate art.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
No, it's a gorgeous card. Awesome. I like WoW a lot.
Um, I play two X Strike. Honestly, this card didn't come up once,
Okay.
but the theory is there to help beat Whitebeard. So they
To
usually
keep
swing
popping those
with the
Marcos.
that or like they swing well, it depends on their build. If they're playing like the Straw Hats, they play like Frankie or Luffy for 4, and when they swing with it, you can like swing 6k into a Luffy bailout counter and then play this for 5 to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Worst come worst, it was a counter. I think I played this card once, and I didn't even KO anything because I swung like 5k into a like Zoro, and he just let it die. So
Oh,
I mean, like he didn't counter out. I was surprised. I just played this for 5 pass. Oh, this was actually the game I play. This and a scratch man just to push for a game.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I managed to win that game from just hard playing this and a scratch man. But the theory is there. You could play this at three. I liked it at two. I think two was fine. I think two was good, but most of the time it was just a 1k counter. Honestly,
Okay. That makes a
yep.
lot of sense for sure.
Also, it's a supernova, so it's searchable.
Yeah, easy search
Um,
for sure.
I played two kids. Yeah, this card was really good today.
Mm-hmm.
It's good in the mirror match for sure. Um, if your opponent plays this, you just go face. That's what I did in the finals. Um,
Yeah.
I because I knew that I wasn't able to maintain board, so I was like, screw it, I'll just push for game, and then like eventually, if they're at 0 life, they have to block with this, so it eventually dies.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I just end up pushing for game, which paid off, and then
Nice. Just push using it
yeah.
as an aggro piece
Yeah,
or pushing
yeah,
through it.
because if they have this and Odin out, you just lose. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if you play your Odin, you're way too far behind.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no point in trying to clear their stuff. It's just go face. Because also if you go face, you force out counters, and because they don't want to block. Because if they block, you just swing into it.
Yeah.
So like you just push face, and then eventually they will have to block with this and will die.
Yeah.
So most of the times, like towards my end rounds, I actually just ignored everything that was big and went face, and
Yeah.
I paid off.
Okay, so
So
just like yeah, never clearing the big bodies. Just at the point
I
when your
mean,
opponent's dropping big bodies, it's time to end the game.
ideally you should try to,
Mm-hmm.
but like you probably slowly lose. So
Right.
you definitely just go aggressive, restand everything, and just force them to go face and say you if you have game, you have game, but if you don't, I'll push for game next turn.
Yeah, when you got
So
it, gotta
yep,
go for it, right?
yeah,
No, I believe that. Okay. So seven drop kid, I totally see
yep.
that. I think that with that being the seven drop, I think we know what's coming next.
Yeah. So I play 4 Odins.
Yo.
Best card in the deck. You drop this as soon as possible. Just like a better kit. Because like you don't have to discard a card as well as it's naturally an 8k, so you can push for the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can clear boards, and if they kill it, you just summon out a free body, a free Okiku, free Rizal, free Izu. I haven't summoned Izu off this, but like you could just
Oh,
to like rest a block or rest a swing. But yeah, no, this card's crazy. Some a couple times I actually let this die. If you think about it, if you play it smart, you can let this die. Or you let this die and you just play out Okiku, and that's another swing. Just so that like, oh, okay, let them waste their turn on this. But uh, yeah, it just depends on the situation. But
Okay,
yeah,
no,
if you
for
can
sure.
protect it, you can. But yeah, no, guard's great. It's Odin.
Hmm.
Um,
Odin's fantastic. Name of the deck, or
yeah,
not name of the deck? I guess it's called Kinemon, but we all
yeah,
really know who's really behind the deck.
yeah. And then I played. So for my options, I only played two.
Mhm.
I play one Paradise Waterfall, one Punk Gibson. Um, Ideally, you could play two of each, or you could play one. I liked it at one. I don't like breaking on stuff, and I thought it was fine at one. This
Okay.
actually, one of my games, this actually came up. I think it was like round A against Whitebeard. I luckily had it in my life, and it rested his Atmos, and I won the game off that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
That's
I mean,
fire.
like,
That's fire.
I I would have lost if the card I took wasn't at least a 1K counter. If it was at least a 1K counter, I
You were good.
100% win that game. But like, yeah, the Punk Gibson just sealed the game,
Hmm.
and he just scooped because he had one card in hand and he had one chopper, but I had Okiku out, so
Yeah.
was basically GG.
So we are going to circle back now that we got through all the deck
Yeah,
profile. We are going to circle back, talk about some matchups. I do have a lot of questions for you, just kind of like about the meta and your thoughts and things like that. But really quickly, while
sure.
we're still on the point of just playing the two event cards, and while we're still here, um, how did you feel going into the Whitebeard matchup? And I guess more than the Whitebeard matchup, how did you feel going into the red matchup? Right, because a lot of people are on heavy event cards to deal with red because red is so spammy. Can you talk about how you dealt with it today, just for people watching the deck profile that are picking up
Yeah,
the deck?
yeah, for sure. So the red deck is pretty easy if you play Okiku and Yamato early and clear their board. If you clear their board, they can't really use like Makino and Sunny to push for damage.
Hmm.
So that's like the best way to beat the deck. Uh, yeah. I mean, I would if you're behind, you have to play a little bit weird,
Hmm.
but that's the idea early game wise, and then late game you want to be searching. You want to just hard play Odin. If you can play Odin, you like almost win the game.
Okay.
So
Yep, I believe that
yeah,
because yeah, what are they gonna do against an Odin? Drop a white
yeah,
beard when it's just kind of too late, right?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No.
So
Oh, sorry.
yeah,
What were you gonna say?
so yeah. No, I was just gonna go over my matchups.
Oh yeah, before we get into matchups, before we get into like the end of the deck profile, while you get all your cards and stuff ready, we just hit 500 subscribers today. So thank you
Oh,
so
let's
much.
go.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Thank you so much to everybody that's been supporting, all the homies and everybody that's been seeing our content and seeing all the videos we've been putting out. So as far as the reveals for some of the stuff that we're giving away at our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, we're gonna be doing that video a little bit later this week. But at this point, if you're at this point in the video and you're still sticking around to see kind of like what Quan played and some of his deck choices, drop a sub to see more from Opa's game. We're going to be dropping more deck profiles later this week, and it's just more competitive seasons coming forward. So drop a sub, leave a like, leave a comment, just support the video, help us get on the algorithm. But for Quan, let's start off with matchups because that's a really good way to lead into
Mhm.
the meta. Let's talk about what you played today.
Okay, so first round I played Kinemon. Second round I played Whitebeard. Third round I played Whitebeard. Fourth round I played Zoro. Fifth round I played Zoro. Sixth round I played Z. That was like probably my easiest matchup. Um,
Don't talk
yeah,
down
it
on
was.
Z. We love Z over here. I
I
want to
mean,
I
like,
want to hear
I
about the
mean, like,
matchup though
I,
for
I,
sure.
I, yeah. It wasn't good for him because I went second and I
Hmm.
opened Okiku and he was just
Just
really far
full, yeah,
behind.
yeah, just
Far
full
behind. But
green
the idea
screen.
is there because if you play Kuzan on 10 and then you make everything like five less and then you swing with Z, you can pop
Clear everything.
yeah, clear an 8K and a 5K. It's pretty
Hmm.
nice.
No, 100.
Um,
Percent
but yeah, no, I just was way too aggressive and had like everything early. Um, and then I played seventh round was Whitebeard, eighth round was Zoro, nine was Kinemon.
Beautiful.
Um, s- so my first round Kinemon mirror match, it was a pretty close game.
Hmm.
The guy was a little bit late, but he showed up. Nice guy. I end up winning it. yeah, I ended up winning it. Not too much to say, other than that I actually got two seven cost kid and an Odin down, so that
Hmm.
was kind of like game over. And he had one Odin, just like over there struggling. So
No, for sure.
yeah, I mean, like, what can you do, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, it was rough. But yeah, the idea with this deck is you just slowly want to kill your opponent.
Hmm.
The second round I played was Whitebeard. Um, I'm not really sure if this game was close or not.
No, for
Uh,
sure.
I think it wasn't. I think my closer games were towards the end.
Hmm.
But yeah, um idea was just Okiku swing at anything that any 6K Luffy's, the 4 cost Luffy, 4 cost Frankie, or the 5 cost Frankie, and then rest something else, and then like swing at it and potentially play an X Drake for the matchup.
Hmm.
Third round, I played against a Whitebeard as well. I think it was relatively the same, as in we face if you just like clear the board and control, and then play Odin, and then you just win the game.
Yep.
Yeah, my fourth and fifth round was against Zoro. It's kind of a blur for me, but I think it wasn't that. It was. I'm pretty sure. My fourth game was like he was losing really
Hmm.
hard, and I was just like slowly. I wasn't going for game. I was just clearing his board and putting out a blocker each turn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was at like 3 life, like eight,
Hmm.
7, 8 cards in hand, and I slowly just killed him to death by Okiku swing once, and then rest everything swing with Kinemon, play a blocker.
For sure.
Yeah, nothing too special there. Fifth round against Zoro, about the same. I don't really remember it, but yeah. Their early game is like they play. Yeah, oh, actually, I remember fifth round. I think fifth round was pretty close.
Yeah.
It
We'll,
was before
let's
the
go.
Z. So I messed up actually. So I went first. So ideally, you want to go first because against Zoro, you can play Odin on 7, which is nice.
Hmm.
However, and also like if you go first, they can't Whitebeard first because they want Whitebeard on turn 9 as soon as
Absolutely.
possible.
Yep.
So that's the deal. Yeah. So I established an early game, and I established an early game, and I like play Okiku in a blocker,
Hmm.
and my opponent was really smart. He swung at my life, and he had like 5 or 6 dons left. I don't remember. I wait a second. Yeah, he had 6 dons left.
Hmm.
So with 6 dons, I figured he would play like 2 Zoros or a Zoro, a Nico Robin, or whatever, and swing. And he also had a Sunny. Um, but my opponent actually just like swung at my life. I took it, and then he played Nico Robin, a Nami, like a Makino, and a Sunny and pass.
Oh
So
yeah.
on 7 dons, I was like, I should have blocked that 5K swing with the blocker so I could play Odin, because I literally couldn't. I didn't have anything to rest in my hand,
Hmm.
and I had like an Easel out and like a 1 cost, and I was just like, this is kind of doomed.
Yep.
I think I hard play like a X Drake and and pass or
Oh
something.
no.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't re- I don't remember. It was something really weird.
Okay.
But I managed to somehow come back from that game
Yeah.
because of Law. So at the very end, I think he had like 2 Whitebeards, a Nico Robin, and I actually had a Law and a yeah, I had a Law, and I had a yeah, I had Law, 10 Dons, Law, and just like a Kinemon. It got to that state.
Hmm.
I swung at his life for 5. He took it, and he was at like 1 life or something. And then, well, I actually put a Don underneath the Law first just to play around Jet Pistol
Yeah.
because I had the ability to. I played Odin for 7, and then I had 2 Dons up just to bluff the
Punk
Punk
Gibson.
Gibson.
Punk
Yeah, and I
Gibby.
had like yeah, I had like I think I had 2. No, I had 3 life left, so I felt like pretty safe, especially with like 1 blocker, and I wanted to push for game.
For sure.
Uh, yeah. So he did I have 2. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I had 3 life. So his turn. He swung. He had 2 um, Whitebeards and one Nico Robin. He swung with his Whitebeard. I took the first one. He put one Don underneath Zoro. Obviously, swung with Whitebeard. I took the first one because you take the first one just to get like some Dons and potentially like a Punk Gibson, anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just scout it out. He swung the next. He swung the next one for like 10 or 11, which is a Whitebeard. Uh, actually, I was at 2 life. Sorry, I took the first life,
Went down.
so I was at 1 life. He
Mm-hmm.
swung with Whitebeard, and I just I was thinking really hard on this because like I wasn't sure what he was gonna do, like if he had like a jet pistol or like something. I didn't even think what he had, but I blocked. It took a while because I did the math in my head,
Yeah.
and he could do 10k on Nico Robin, 10k um on Zoro, which is less than 11k, and I also would have like an extra counter in my hand. I had like I had like 10k in my hand, so yeah. Uh, anyway, so I blocked
Crazy
that.
game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did
For game state. Mm-hmm.
10k with did 10k with Nico Robin. I took that, and then he did 10k with Zoro, and I had 11k.
Literally.
Fortunately, yep, got that. But it was
Just
funny
about.
because afterwards he actually showed me his hand, and he had a Diablo Jambe. So he was
Ooh.
actually wanting me to not block that, and he would have just put like all of it on Zoro.
Yep.
So I really lucked out. I wasn't thinking about around Diablo Jambe. I was just thinking about like, what if I force him to commit, right? What
Right.
if I force him to commit and like, wait, like just like block and be like, oh, I don't have enough for 10 or 11k, 10k, and he might do 11k or he might do like 9k and then like 11 or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then like just win off that. But yeah, so I managed to win that luckily.
For sure.
Um,
And that's like
against Z.
really
Yep,
quickly,
go
just
ahead.
touching on that, just like I said before, that's like a crazy game state to navigate through because there
Yeah,
are so many avenues, right? Because
yeah,
like even considering from your first action that you took, from your opponent swinging at you, you made a decision right away that was very important, which was blocking, right? Not
yeah,
relying on the blocker to save a little bit longer, not dumping easy counters out of hand. You blocked right away,
yep,
and that's one of those things. That's like read the game state. You know what I mean? But let's talk about
yeah.
Z in your round 7 because it's round seven,
Uh,
eight, and nine, right?
no, 6 was Z,
Oh,
5 was
six.
Zoro.
Oh, sorry about
Yeah,
that. Yep,
so
six
the
and Z.
so the Z I I faced was uh yeah, he went I went second. I won the die roll,
Mm-hmm.
luckily. Yeah, I had Okiku out. He I think when he was at 3 Dons, he actually did 8k to my leader, so he was kind of like he was really behind. And then, I just spammed the board, just swung at his life with Okiku because like why not if he wants to kill it. I think I swung with Okiku, play it like a blocker, and then I slowly just killed him to death. And
Mm-hmm.
he never drew a 10 cost uh 10 cost Kuzan, so he basically lost the game
Yeah, just
from
off of not
there.
not hitting his
Yeah.
curve, and it's
Yeah, and
crazy, and that's really important in Z. Only having 4 life, you don't have very long to make the things that you need to make happen.
yeah.
But what were you saying?
Yeah, no, yeah, I just dropped a 7 cost kid, and he just didn't have the 10 cost. If he had the 10 cost, it might have changed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I won with like 3 life, like 10 cards in hand, and
Mm-hmm.
like a kid, a Bonnie, a Okiku, and like a like blocker of some sorts.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, yeah, it was pretty bad for him for
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 sure.
sure. He was playing like Hawkins and stuff that gave him dons, which was cool little tech.
For sure.
But the problem is like if I pressure early game and I go aggressive, especially if you're at 4 life, it's really hard to come back,
And I think
especially without the 10 cost Kuzan.
For sure. And I think learning those matchups, like I know you know all the individual cards very well, but learning those matchups on the fly, so like even if you hadn't tested against Z very much, or you hadn't tested against the Z that plays this ramp engine, being able
Hmm.
to figure those out on the fly is something that's really important, I think, to have like for a tournament mentality. So going back and talking over these things and stuff like that, I think that's really something that's important to highlight, just because like you need to have that presence of mind to like be able to break the game down. I think that's one of the things that I think you would agree that helped you win today was just like your
Hmm.
game presence, your game knowledge, and like your game time, right? The amount of time that you put into the game so far. So
Yeah.
for sure. So that
Yeah.
leaves us onto what round 7 now. We're getting into the
Yeah,
later ones.
Whitebeard.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Whitebeard one. I don't I don't know how I won. Funny. Yeah, so the guy I just was trying to clear his whole board, but he had just too much. He was playing Moby Dick, he had Vista and like four costs Marco and whatnot and kept reviving it. I actually like 2 turns in a row, funny story. He like ace killed my Okiku and before he like King do, and I actually swung Okiku at life, and then I put all my Dons underneath Kinemon and swung at his Kingdu and
Hmm.
put out a blocker. So like he was forced to like play like a rusher or something or play something to clear it because I would block one.
For sure.
But yeah, I blocked one, and then I play it like an Okiku for like two, and then put all my Dons underneath Kinemon again and did 9K, or I did like 9K, and he just let it die because he had no Dons up
Hmm.
and his hand was kind of like bricky.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, towards the end of the game, um, it was like he had he had like five. So at the end of the game, I had two killers. I think 2 life, 3 cards. No, was it 2 life? No, it was 3 life, 2 cards in hand. I
Hmm.
felt pretty safe. I could play Odin and try and push for game next turn, but I felt like the 2 killers was safe, especially since he has no life and he has to push for game, and I have Okiku out, which pressures game.
Yep.
So yeah, Chopper, a Otama, um, a Vista, a Moby Dick out, a Atmos, and a Marco, right? And he had like 2 or 3 cards in hand. I no, he had 3 cards in hand. I remember. He Vista over his Otama killed my killer, and then he Seaquake, and I was like, oh shoot, this is gonna come down the wire. I have 4K counters in hand, so I had like 3 life like this, and um yeah, so he did 5K at Vista at my life. I had like 4 cards in hand. I had like a 1K and two 2Ks. I 1K counter that obviously. And then he actually, so he had 6 Dons remaining because he
Hmm.
played Vista and the one. He actually put 2 Dons under the Vista and like confidently said attack or like declare attack. And I was just like, hey, you put 2 Dons on your Vista that you just played. And
Hmm.
he's like, oh, my bad. And he took it back. And I I was tempted to say something, but I didn't because I don't know. That's just how I am. I wasn't like I
Yeah,
probably
you're
should have
not gonna
said
like
something,
short
but
somebody for
but
something
I
like that.
I mean
Yeah.
like I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a commit, but it is what it is.
Mhm. Oh,
So
like
then
attaching Dawn onto a card, and then
yeah, and
because
then
there's no
confident.
step
So,
to take Dawn
yeah,
off of cards. I see like
yeah,
what you're
yeah,
getting at now. Yeah.
yeah,
At
yeah,
first, I was stuck on the fact that he tried to attack with the card that had summoning sickness. I was like, oh, come on,
yeah,
we let those go. But I see what you're saying, and that's one of
yeah.
those things though. Even in later rounds, like kind of just touching on things that for people to pick up on. But it's like really important to have that presence of
Yeah.
mind because like I know I can miss something like that easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, but I just I I don't know. I
Hmm.
probably should have said something, but
Hmm.
like I couldn't bring myself to it. I was kind of chill.
I
He
get
was a
that.
chill dude.
I get that, but
So
that's something
it
to talk
is
about.
what it
Yeah,
is.
there is no
Yeah,
detached Dawn stuff in One Piece.
there's no
Once Dawn is
so he
on a
had
card,
it's it's fine. So he has 6 Dons left. He put 2 under Marco and he swung with Marco. So he's like whole 100% commit because he only has a chopper.
hmm.
And I think I had like a rested like Yamato and then like Okiku.
Yep.
He's just going face, right? He did it. I took the 9K because it's 9K because he puts 2 Dons. So he has 4 Dons left. So I was just thinking in my head, I have 4Ks in my hand. And then I think this was like a 1K or something. I had 10K. I was just thinking if I get like a 1K here, um, because I would be like pretty I would be pretty s- pretty safe, right? I'm trying to remember what he had.
Hmm.
No. Sorry, I was
No,
at
it's
two
okay.
life. I was at 2 life. This is hard to remember. Yeah, I was at two. Was I at 2 life? Yeah. No, I was at 3 life. Sorry.
No, you're good.
No, no. I was at no, I was at 2 life. Okay. Anyways, so like he swung 7K
Hmm.
and or 9K and I was thinking yeah, I only had 4K counters in hand, so I couldn't block that. So I was thinking I just needed like a 1K counter here because he would have done like or 1 or 2K I believe because he with 4 dons left he would have done like 9K and then like 11 or like 10, and if he did 10 there's potentially that I could get another counter here and that'll be like 6K, so I need like 5 or 6K,
Hmm.
but like a 1K would have been like really safe because he probably do 9K and then guarantee the 11K.
Okay.
So but luckily this card right here was actually like a Punk Gibson,
Yeah.
so it rests his Atmos and then he like kind of lost on the spot because he had
Right.
like
Because
four.
there's not enough attack
Yeah,
power.
yeah, because I rested his Atmos. He had 4 Dons left. I mean, he could kill like my Yamato, but then I would just he had no cards in hand after that,
Hmm.
so I got that. Yeah, that
That
was
leads
hard
us
to remember.
into no, I believe
Eight,
that.
eight, yeah,
Eight. Okay.
eight is Zoro. That game was kind of a blur, but
I'm sure it had to be straightforward. Zoro kind of does the whole
yeah.
thing.
I actually he actually whitebearded me 3 times, believe it or not.
No, I
But
100% believe that. I think
I
that's what you need in Zoro to go
he
into the
wa-
late
he just
game.
he kept white beer after white beer,
Uh
and
huh.
he just like swung with his white beer. And the problem is, like, I had Odin out. The problem is, if you swing with your white beard, I could commit like, I could make it like four, put 4 dons on it,
Hmm.
swing out a white beer, and probably kill it, maybe rest. But then I still have to deal with another white beard. You
Yep.
you know what I mean? So I was just like, I'll just go face, and I literally went face. And at the very end, I had a yeah, I went face, and I think at the end he was like, I did like a 10K swing, and he had if he had 4K, he had 3 cards. If he had 4K in his hand, he would have won. And I was just like, you probably don't have it, so you go for it.
Yep.
So I went for it. I went 10K to his face for one last swing. He had like just one Nami in hand, so I managed to get that.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I was just too far behind where he was just kept playing Whitebeard. Like I'm just going face.
Yeah, that's
I'm just
scary. That's
I'm just
100%
going face.
scary.
I'm just going face. I'm going to play. I think I played like a law blocker or
Hmm.
something. But yeah, I just went face because against Whitebeard you can't really play the small blockers. Like at that point you just keep the small blockers in your hand as counters unless you can put out like 2 beiges at once, because then you can block the swing after they pop one. But yeah, so I just kept the counters in my hand and
For
survived
sure.
and managed to push after he third Whitebeard. Funny though, the commentators what came in and they were like, uh, yeah, the Zoro player probably got it. He had 3 Whitebeards, but and they left. Like they didn't even stream the game.
Oh, I
Or
didn't know
that's
that's
what
what
my friend.
happened.
That's what one of my teammates Tusa said. He said
Oh,
like he
that's really
came. They
funny.
came in there and they were like, yeah, the Whitebeard player probably or the Zoro player got it. He has 3 Whitebeards. But the thing is, they didn't realize it was my turn, and as well
Hmm.
as like I had Odin out, a I think Law Blocker and like a Kinemon, and I just like did. I think I did I remember. And I think I actually had the 7 cost kid. I think I did like 9K 9K twice,
Hmm.
and he was at 2 life. I forced him because 9K forces out cards. 9K he took one. 9K again with my kid. He actually counter all of that, and then I did 10K
Oh,
twice
yep.
because yeah, because
You
I
have to
have four.
commit so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I did 10K once. He took that, had 3 cards left in hand, and then I did 10K again. And I was like, if you have it, you have it. I can't really
No,
win
he probably
against
had
three
the fourth
Whitebeards.
Whitebeard in hand.
Yeah, no, he showed me his hand. He had a Gordon, a Zoro, and a Nami.
No, for sure.
Uh, but like when you're playing a deck that runs like 30 non-counters, it's at the end. I feel like after you're countering out, you probably don't have it.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I
Man,
managed to win that. It was funny though, because
the
the
stream should have picked you up
commentators.
and taught everybody how to sauce up three Whitebeards, or how to sauce
Yeah,
up multiple
they,
Whitebeards in
they
general.
I think they thought it was their turn, and like he was pushing for game, and if he did, I 100% lost. But it was my turn. Um, I guess he had like 3 or 4 cards in hand and like 2 life. so
Mm-hmm.
they felt like he was gonna win, and Zoro was at 7K. So like I didn't bother buffing up Kinemon because there's no point.
Mm-hmm.
You just put like I had a kid and a law. You just make both of them 9. I obviously made the law. I stack with the law left to make it 9, or I boost it because you don't want to play into jet pistol. That's something you have to keep in mind. And then I did the kid for 9 swung, and then I did 10K Odin twice and managed to get it.
Yeah.
Luckily.
So for anybody
And
that was in
then
that stream, that's how that three Whitebeard player got sauced up in the end. So
yeah, you just
fire.
ignore it. You
Yep.
straight up ignore it because if you commit too much, you might just lose.
Absolutely.
Um,
So let's talk about your stream match, your final match. How did that go?
yeah, crazy match. I managed to win the dice roll, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
I opened I opened Momo. I was debating whether to keep it. I opened like 2 Momos. I decided to keep it because like if I go first, I'll just use Momo's effect, and then next turn I can play like an Okiku or Yamato. He went first, play Momo, pass. I Momo effect at Okiku. He play Yamato for 3, rest my Okiku, and then swung into it. I just 1K, or sorry, just 3 costs Yamato, and I just had the Momo out, and he just swung 5K into it. Then I play Okiku for 2 that I search off the Momo last turn, and I played another Momo. So this was a weird turn for me. I could have played like a blocker and a Momo, or just like Momo and use Momo's effect. And I
Mm-hmm.
decided to use Momo effect because like uh I don't care if I lose cards on the field because I can play stuff for cheaper, as well as like it's a card that replaces stuff. And also it also makes it weird where like they it makes it weird where they have to swing into it, so it's like a blocker for me. And if they swing into it with like something, I just like buy myself a turn and I can play something next turn. um then I believe next turn I was at like 6 Dons or something. He I It was a little blur. I had X-Drake in my hand that I was thinking about playing, but I forgot he had 1 Don up for the Paradise. So I swung 6K at Kingdom. So what I was thinking was I would swing 6K at the Yamato, and then I would bait out counter and then play X-Drake. It didn't go like that. I swung 6K at it, and and then he just Paradise Waterfall. So then I decide to use Kimon's effect to play Yamato for 3, and then I think I swung like 6
Mm-hmm.
6K at it, or just to bail on their counter and play like 2 blockers or something, 2 Beiges to protect my Kiku.
Mm-hmm.
I was just really setting myself up on 8 Dons to play Odin, which I did. I played that. I think I passed him, and I think he played like a 7 cost kit. And I was like, the moment he drops the 7 cost kit, I was like, I'm not gonna win board because the 7 cost kit is just so much better than Odin, and the fact that you only need to put 1 Don on it, and like each turn you can just like have a blocker and you force them to swing like at least 7K to do damage. So I just like swung face. I did 5K. I did 5K at face first, 6K at face. And then I was just hoping he would block with the 7, and then I could, kill it, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just did 8K, restand it so that it doesn't die. And then I think I played like, was it this turn? I don't remember what turn it was, but I
Yeah.
think when I put him to like 0 life or 1, I think I put him to 0 life with Odin because I made a 9K, and if he blocked, he had no Dons up. Oh, I remember. The turn after he played like an 8 cost Odin, I was like, "There's no way I'm winning this." With 2 life left, unless I push for damage. So I did like 5, like 6, and then I did Odin for 8, and then I restanded it like Odin for 9, and then I played the 5 cost Law, bounced back my Yamato, and when I did 9K at his face for the last shield,
Mm-hmm.
he decided to not block. Which was whatever. I had a 1 cost blocker out. Uh, so I was at 6 Dons left, I believe. I had cost blocker out. Rested Yamato. I did 9K at life and forced him to like use the, or I started with like a 5K swing and 8K swing, and then I managed to get him to like 0 shields, and with a last swing of 9K Odin, and then after I restand it. And then uh, and then I had Reset Yamato, a beige. I 5 cost law, bounce back the Yamato, and I actually play Alan Okiku, which helps me win game. And I think I had like 3 life left, and I was like, I don't care if you swing at my face. The only thing that's rested is my 8 cost Odin, and I have like a bunch of counters in hands. I'm just gonna protect that. He
Right.
ended up like just pushing for life with his like 2 Yamatos, his 7 costs, and his Odin, and then he put me down to 0 life, and then he proceeded to play a beige, a Okiku or a Toki, and a killer, and 2 Dons active and pass. I was like, okay. So got to my turn, immediately played Yamato for 4, rest one of his blockers, put 1 Don immediately on Okiku, so I have 5 Dons remaining.
Hmm.
And then I um I swung with Okiku first because you got to play around the punk. Rest one of his blockers, so he has 1 blocker left, 1 beige, I believe, and 1 killer uh one 7 cost kid.
Hmm.
He actually punk there, which shows his hand's kind of bad if he had to punk over like a 2K counter. Then I did put 1 Don under Law to make it to swing 7K. He blocked with the 7K, and then I did 9K swing with Odin, and then he blocked with 1 cost restand 9K for game. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and
Yeah, it was a
I
clean
still
way to
had one
finish that
more. I
game.
had one more swing with Kinemon, but the idea was he had no life left, so I had 6K swing, a 7K swing, a 5K, and a 9K twice, and I
Hmm.
felt confident with that. Especially since he played a bunch of counter blockers that I just rest.
Right.
But yeah, no, you always want to swing with like 7K or like odd numbers when they have an odd leader, just
Okay.
so that you make sure you force like 2 cards out.
For sure.
But yeah, so
So that
yeah,
was
I
your
managed to
turnaround
get.
for it.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah.
That was the end of the tournament.
That's a beautiful run, man.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
but what really won me the game was the law, the law just bouncing back my 4 cost so that I can play it next turn to rest something, as well as putting out
Yes.
Okiku when he's at 0 life. I mean, sure, I had rested Odin, but like I had a beige blocker, a 6 cost blocker, and then I had a bunch of cards in my hand.
Hmm.
Um,
So just
and
for
also
perspective.
like, and also if like he commits too much to swing over my Odin, he won't have like Dons for his Punk Gibsons and his blockers. You know.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense.
So yeah, he just swung like 6K twice at Yamato. And I think I took both of them or something. I was like, yeah, sure, give me some cards.
Hmm.
Or I
No.
took one of them for sure. Might have countered the other. I don't really remember, but yeah. So yeah,
No, for sure.
that was a tournament.
This deck profile is running a little bit long, but I do have 2 questions that I do want to ask you. The number
Yeah.
one thing though is after the tournament, a lot of people you kind of go through this tournament, and you have your after tournament thoughts and things like that. What are some? Are you changing anything in your deck? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't when you finish a big tournament like this. But after winning, is there anything that you feel like, even though you won the tournament, that you want to see perform better in your deck right away
Um.
for anybody watching this deck profile right now?
Uh. At the moment, I think it seems all right for what it is.
Hmm.
I don't have any ideas
Okay,
at the moment because like I feel like everything worked fine, everything was great. I like my ratios, it felt great.
for sure.
There wasn't ever time where oh this card is just bad in my hand or this card because like cards that were bad in my hand I just discard it, so it's it's just like solves itself. So like ratio wise, I do like it. I wouldn't recommend putting in more non counters because this already runs as many a lot.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's just how green is though. They
For
just run a
sure.
lot of non counters. Um,
So
yeah, but yeah,
yeah, for sure.
that's
And then second question mostly being that makes a lot of sense for your first question answer. What were you for so after all your encounters today, either what were you most like afraid of, right, for matchup wise, or post game, what game left you the most scared? Like what was the worst either matchup or what was the worst like battle that you barely won that you feel?
um honestly, I think it's the Kingdom on Mirror,
Yep.
for sure because like a lot of decks you can like control the board and win, but like the Kingdom on Mirror, they want to do the same thing. So it's just like you're both trying to control the board.
Hmm.
But I for me, I felt like I just got lucky at the end where I just went for face, but my opponent was just taking everything and he had a bunch of non-counters in it. I was like, okay, I'll
Yeah,
do it.
yeah,
But yeah, and also I had the law in hand and the Okiku, so I felt confident. So to bounce back like something that rests for next turn to push for damage, as well as like the only thing he can swing at is my Kinemon and my Rested Odin with a bunch of counters in hand. So and also if he like committed to killing Odin, he might not be able to play blockers or any like counter events. So yeah, but yeah, that's basically it
yeah,
for how I felt.
yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, honestly. So, any shouts for you
Oh yeah,
to wrap up?
shout out Jamay for sure for hosting this that profile and always um keeping it real for sure.
Oh, cheers.
Shout out Tusa Muchi for helping me playtest. Well, they helped me playtest a little bit. They were too busy on the Digimon grind, but you know they've been killing in Digimon, so I can't blame them. And then
Yeah, we have a diverse team right now.
shout out Dan for sure because Dan helped me playtest. He told me he has all of like the meta decks and he built like the Whitebeard meta and like I would have had trouble against that mirror match of or against that match if I didn't know what they were playing or what they were doing. So definitely like if you can get your games in with like someone you know, like build meta decks, it'll help you for sure.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Quan. And dude,
Oh,
congratulations. Oh, sorry.
And obviously, shout out my sponsor, VCG Viral Card Games, best store in Minnesota, and Digiopas for sure, favorite team.
Yeah, no, of course. Okay, I just want to make sure you you got everybody. No, cheers, but no, seriously, congratulations from like everybody on the team, everybody in Minnesota. I know you've been running games here, so now everybody at locals can feel a little bit less bad about losing to you every week. But this is gonna be Jamonster with Opus Gaming, and we're out. Take care, you guys.
All right, thank you again.
Yeah,
Thanks.
man, of course.